I'm driving to Thibodaux, Louisiana, where a massacre against black farmers in 1887 left some 60 dead. Let's see what we can find. Decades after the formal end of slavery, black life on Louisiana farms remained similar to pre-Civil War days. They couldn't own land or rent, and a majority of them lived in old slave cabins like these. They were paid starvation wages, 42 cents a day. These are the sugar canes that the laborers worked in. It was some of the hardest work in farming. In 1887, black sugarcane workers demanded a second emancipation, one based on economics, and they demanded a living wage. They collaborated with the Knights of Labor, the largest labor union in the country. Despite segregation, the Knights of Labor organized across racial lines and challenged Jim Crow. The strikers demanded $1.25 a day, yet the planters, like future Supreme Court Justice Edward Douglas White, responded by firing all the unionized workers. The strike gained national attention. Pause to read how one D.C. politician talked about it. Local newspapers spread rumors about black-on-white violence. The governor responded to the planter class, assembled all-white militias that were led by ex-Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard to squash the strikers. The local judge declared martial law and a massacre ensued. Black Americans, including women and children, were killed en masse by local militias, police, and hate groups. And as I was filming this TikTok, a neighbor came up to actually tell me what his grandmother told him about the Thibodaux massacre.
The laborers that cut the cane and everything, harvest the cane for them, they waited until it was harvest time, and they told them, you know, they wanted more money. It led to a conflict, and they started murdering some of these people, I guess to teach them a lesson.
One striker was taken to the town square, told to run, and then was shot to death. Many others took refuge in the swamps and woods. Afterwards, bodies were dumped in unmarked graves, and workers returned to the fields, while the white press and the planter class cheered on a victory. I'm standing in front of one of those unmarked graves. Pause to read how one local newspaper blamed black workers for the violence. It was one of the bloodiest days in labor history, and the organizers and the assassins were never charged. Instead, they went on to become politicians, judges, and sheriffs. Schools were built and statues were named in their honor. Louisiana sent a statue of Edward White Douglas to the Capitol, and it still stands there today. There are no markers for the victims of the Thibodaux massacre. At the site of this mass grave, I asked two of the descendants of the survivors, why is it important for people to learn this history? And I'm going to give them the last word.
It's important for students to know this because African-American history has never really been taught in the school.
It is important for students to learn the history of this country. African-Americans are an integral part of this country. We helped build this nation. They became an economic powerhouse because of slavery. If you don't know that part of history, then you don't know America.